where you choose to stand is so important.
That's right.
And so we can stand. We're not standing as one without a promise. We are standing as beloved children of God with a promise and an inheritance. So I would just say, make sure that when you do choose to stand with God, because He stands with you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to podcast number 123 of the Gordon and Cherise Show. We are so happy to be back with you. We know that you guys are listening because you want to become part of the healing journey. So we are on an expedition together, and we are getting started to make changes. In fact, that's what the name of this podcast is for this episode. Get started to make changes.
Okay, Cherise, I'd like to add a few things.
You usually do.
Okay, number one, this is our third season, folks.
Yep. Thank you for hanging in there with us. And if you're new, there's a lot of good content to get caught up with.
I have listened to quite a few previous episodes, and I'm blown away by what's come through our conversations. And some of it is divinely inspired for people so that they can make changes. That's part of it. Number two, I just want to say that you look very attractive today. You look like you're on fire, ready to go.
Thank you, honey.
And then, of course, let's get started with number three. Number three is with the title, Get Started to Make Changes. I think a lot of people out there, and I relate to this, they're wrestling with, how do I get started? I'm trying to get started. And I think a lot of people have heard the definition of try. I've said this to my kids when they were in high school. Well, I'm going to try to do this well academically, or I'm going to try to accomplish this thing, or I'm going to try to make a change. And I would say, okay, I want you to stand up. I want you to try to lift the chair. And they would get up and act like they're lifting the chair. And I'm like, stop, you're lifting the chair. You either do something, you make a decision and stick with it, or you don't. But when you try, you take that energy out of you. And with people, you don't have to have massive pain. You can just be stuck in the junk of life. You can just be stuck in the loop where you're going, I don't even know where to start to make a change. I'm just existing.
Yeah.
Okay. And anything that they halfway think about trying to do, they get nowhere.
There goes that word again, trying.
Right. And so to get started with making changes, we've put down some points. And a lot of these points are from different places that we've been. And I want to say this to folks. Yes, I've moved from doctor to patient to transformed individual. But here's what I want to tell everyone who walks in transformation. You still get hit with painful trials.
Absolutely. Well, 100%. Okay. You're opening the door wide open, Gordon.
I know I am. And so what happens is you have to continue to operate with the mindset that I'm going to still make new decisions and I'm still going to move forward, even if you're attacked on all sides of your life. I don't care if it's physical, emotional, mental, financial, career, purpose, identity, safety, provision, whatever it is, you still can move forward.
There's inevitably a choice every day.
Yes, there is.
About knowing where you stand, about deciding where you stand in the midst of it. Because as we've talked before, you don't get to choose all of your trials. It's not like you woke up one day and said, give me more pain. I can't wait to take this on.
Right.
So knowing where you stand, though, that there is such a beauty in the ability to make a decision in that. So the trying part, and this is so relevant in my life too, trying to do something takes away the action step. It just makes it more of a theory. So just realize that almost taking the word trying out and just doing, just getting up, just standing when you don't even feel like getting out of bed. It's a start.
Right. And I think sometimes with the trying phase, it's an overthinking phase. It's an overuse of your analytical mind. It's an overuse of saying, okay, let me see what worked in the past. What could work in the present? Could I really do this? No, I've got too much pain. I've got too much weight. I've got too much despondency emotionally. I can't do this. I can't do this. So what happens is you start to overthink on things. And so the process becomes overwhelming. And then all you want to do, you have no energy. Your emotional state is shot. And then your body follows what your emotional state is.
And it's time
and it doesn't move.
Time to break those loops. I think that's the whole point of how you've been able to move forward in faith, is faith gives you the power to break the loops so that you can make a different decision in the way that you stand.
Right. So most likely, many people out there right now, Reese, are trying to figure out where they stand as they grapple in the dark places of painful suffering. And if it's not painful suffering, it's enough of the little emotional wreckage that they carry and the doubt and insecurity and low self-esteem that can be just as powerful to stop someone from moving forward as having a major health condition. Okay, such as a kidney stone or a broken leg or something that was sharp and acute that happened to you that's painful suffering. Sometimes it's that slow burning exhaustion of not having your confidence. And for people that are dealing with faith who are completely burnt out and say, yeah, I believe in God, he exists. That's great. But he must overlook me. I haven't had a victory out of defeat in a long time. Where do I go from here? So I would say, let's do this in steps. Step number 1, know where you stand. So if you're going to stand, you've probably acknowledged everything that's happened. It just looks crazy. Okay? And right now, you're probably confronted with the realization, hey, listen, this is time to make a change. So if I'm going to stand up in the midst of all this chaos and it's time to make a change, where does my mindset go? And I know where mine first went. Okay, I'm going to pray for a miracle. Can my faith bring a miracle? It's almost like I was taught that automatically.
The instant relief.
The instant relief.
You just needed it to go away so that you could move on.
Right. And when it didn't happen, then it's almost like I forfeited my will to the idea that I was going to stay stuck in time and just wait until I finish things out on this planet until I can look forward to a time of glory, but just accept the fact that I'll always deal with pain. If I had a 3-sentence moniker at the time, it would be life is blank. Yeah, I would have filled it in, life is pain. Or life is unhappy. And there's a lot of people who've dealt with long-term suffering that feel that way.
Even when they claim to have a Christian faith or that part of renewing the mind really takes a bold step of humility.
Well, imagine this. Here's your mind. And in your mind, you continually you're dealing with panic, fear, floods of different thoughts, probably lack of financial resources. Okay, a lot of people are on the brink of going bankrupt, emotional damage, spiritual apathy, and then on top of it, perhaps a broken body. Okay, after a while, emotionally, the way they're processing these things and the thoughts that are going in their brain trying to contend with everything, it's a no wonder process of that your body is just absolutely barely getting along. You're walking through the cement of life. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, on every aspect. So everything looks hopeless. So I know this. for myself. And you've seen this because I have a recent issue that I'm dealing with. Here I am as a transformed individual. We're working our platform and great things are happening. But that doesn't mean spiritual warfare doesn't exist.
Yeah, you've had a brand new physical attack.
I have.
And you're literally sitting working through this attack as you speak.
As I speak. And for people who want to know, I do have a brand new hernia. I just passed 2 kidney stones, and my stomach now is above my diaphragm, and I have to have surgery. And I've said this, here's all the chaos. Where do I stand? I'm dealing with insurance companies, paying the bills that are going to happen in the future. I'm dealing with doctor's appointments. I'm dealing with the politics of the medical legal system.
That want to put you off for 6 months when you need it now.
That want to put me off for 6 months where I need actual good treatment now. And I'm looking for board certified physicians. But I said this to you. We're not going to force our way through against all the problems. I choose to stand in peace. The peace that's in my salvation. And I choose to trust God further. And just in one night, I had a friend call me up, asked how I was doing. I didn't even think.
Just out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
Yeah.
Okay, he sent me a text.
Yep.
Next thing you know, he knows the surgeon that I'm trying to see, and it used to be his next door neighbor, and he's had surgery from him, and they're close friends, and I am going to get a lift. Now, tell me that coincidence wasn't God inspired by saying, Heavenly Father, I will trust in you.
That's right.
Okay.
You took that stand before there was even a breakthrough. And I confess, I'm the one, not you, who became a basket case for the last 48 hours.
Yes, it's understandable.
To the point of tears that really were just chronic. And 2 days ago, I was literally laying down in the afternoon in bed and I could not get up. I was so sad that you had to go through a new attack. This is something new. You've never gone through this before. You've gone through a lot of other things, but then it's like, Lord, this is his internal organs, and now there's a battle there. And, and then I think what really threw me over the edge was just not getting answers fast enough. And you slowed me down. And you were like, honey, you're the one comforting me. I needed to be comforting you. And you were like, honey, the truth is, you're handling this the way that I did when I was first injured 30 years ago.
That's right.
You said, at that time you demanded the answers and you demanded information. You demanded your way to get through this, and it didn't work. You couldn't demand all of the benefits that you were looking for then, from every single aspect of insurance working and doctors working and all of these things. You've learned so many lessons, and I have too. But boy, it's amazing when something new comes. You get tested in all the stuff that you have already kind of walked through,
right? And
it's another refining process,
right?
And so, Gordon, your optimism and your stance, talk about this whole subject for this podcast is taking a stand. And taking a stand to say, I choose peace. I choose peace in this chaos. I choose to look at Jesus and know that he's suffering with me and that he's for me and that this is going to all work out when it's supposed to. I'll do what I need to do. I'll take the steps. It's not that you said I'm not doing anything, but when you did what you could do, you stood. And that was just such a reminder to me.
I did stand, and part of standing is refusing to give in to our analytical thinking. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean our analytical thinking is going to necessarily rescue us. And it doesn't mean to have dumbfounded, foolish thinking. Right. I'm not advocating that. But there's a time to breathe, know where you're standing, understanding the battle, looking at it with different eyes, and making a choice.
You're right.
And so when you walk, the thing is, when you become transformed, when you reach the place where you can say, I've got health again, that doesn't mean that pain is going to stop or that an enemy is going to stop attacking you or that you're going to have opposition and fear and all the different things that try to stop you on the path. So, for instance, my word this year is intentional. I want to go further in that tunnel of transformation. I want to see what more is there. But guess what? I'm going to make choices, Dale Valente, if God wills. I'm going to make choices that are consistent with God's will and his promises for our lives.
Absolutely.
Okay? And folks, it's not easy.
No.
Okay?
I'm a living testament to that part.
And it's because I've had 30 years of training with this, and
Yes.
I've gone through years and years and years and years of doing this, but I'm still vulnerable to a mistake when I can't believe what's happening to me. Those thoughts still come into my mind. I'm not perfect. I don't have it all figured out.
And I know that you don't even want to be in the spotlight about something new coming up. And at the same time, this is our platform. It's walking through it.
Yes, it is.
And it's not about you being this perfect model citizen. It's Christ is working in you through the pain. This transformation doesn't belong to you. It belongs to God.
And there's times where when you get rid of that conscious, analytical overthinking, what you do is it's almost like meditation. You become familiar with yourself in a different way. And sometimes that familiarity is deep within who you are. And sometimes you're almost stepping outside of your body to see where you're placed. So I want to give a coaching nugget to every person.
Let's hear it.
Okay. You're most likely positioned. We're talking about knowing where you stand. You're positioned between all of the promises of God, 160 plus promises that we went over on a podcast, okay? And then the actual fulfillment in glory when we're not here on this planet anymore. And a lot of times we're all living in that valley. But when we make those choices for God, it's like that valley closes up and we have less of a distance between his promises and the fulfillment of everything that happens.
Yep.
So I would just encourage people, understand where you're positioned. Grow in your faith and trust in him. Every exercise a transformed individual has is an exercise about growing in trust. And here's the other thing is, you're also going to grow and learn about new things related to health. You'll learn new things related to finances. You'll learn new things related to not just taking care of your body, but how to help someone else out, be that caregiver or help out a neighbor. And you're going to learn new things about how do I more effectively and intimately and compassionately worship God. So it's a continual learning process for that transformed individual. Okay? Now, when you're standing, I know, I feel like this is maybe where you were a little bit yesterday. When you're standing, things can seem distant and unfamiliar. So you believe in the promises of God. Oh my goodness, Gordon's got this. His stomach is above his diaphragm and pressing on his kidneys and his lungs. And heart. Yeah. So he's way down here. Yep. So here you are from a distant, and you're looking at distant healing. In other words, spiritual healing, prayer, or any form of healing from a distance. And guess what? As a caregiver, sometimes it's hard to trust that. Sometimes it's hard to really connect with your own prayer life and to believe that there's going to be a change. And so when you're positioned from a distance, sometimes you feel handicapped. You don't feel like you're in the middle of it where a solution is happening. what I would encourage people to do is again, let's get rid of that overthinking, that overanalyzation of everything that's happening. You can observe it, but let's get to the point where you say, I choose peace. I choose rest. I know that wisdom and love and grace are found in those places because these are the end results of a believing mind and a believing heart towards God.
See, I think ultimately, Gordon, being on two sides of the coin, it's very important to get to that same place together because we both get to make a choice in these moments about choosing to stand in peace. I think it's beautiful that we can make that choice together, and sometimes it doesn't come at the very same time. But ultimately, I find that the strongest thing that we can do is ultimately arrive at that place together. Then it's like nothing can separate that. So and somebody has to take the leadership in that. Sometimes it's usually, a lot of times I think it's you, but there are times where it has been me. We both strengthen one another. That's the mystery of loving somebody. And it's the mystery of marriage or the mystery of being a caregiver. You know, I'm humbled again because of my own weakness through this to say, Jesus carries both of us in our weakness.
He does. And a lot of times what we try to do when there seems like an emergency 911 problem happening, and I know this tendency, here we have, we've trusted in God. We've moved from a former career and purpose into being a pain-ridden patient and a victim, and then we've moved out of victimhood and we're moving forward and we're trying to be this strong spiritual person and this person that has their life intact, and we're moving in transformation and we want the best of the best and the better life. Well, it's all a building process. And I think sometimes the temptation is when we're moving into peace, what God is saying is, don't bring everything of your past into your future to solve what you're dealing with in the present. So
that's so powerful.
It's true. We try to bring everything that we know that has been successful in our rebuilding process into the future. Okay, let's take care. Let's solve it. And so we'll have it here with the present, and we are geared up now. We're geared up to handle anything. Here's what the Lord says: when you walk into peace, don't bring anything with you. Follow me. Okay? You don't even need a shepherd's hook.
Right.
You don't even need a money bag on you. I'm telling you right now, get to a place of peace. I see what's going on. You are being tested. You're going to grow in faith. And he's almost smiling, saying, hey, Simon Peter, I know you tried to solve all of these emergency problems with your life. You're in the boat, and you got your colleagues here, Andrew and the bunch. Okay, they're coming out to help you. You're going through the whole area of water, and you can't find any fish. And Jesus is teaching on the side, and he looks at you, a man of peace. He looks at you and says, "Why don't you go ahead and cast your net out on this side? Go ahead and do it." I'll do it, but it's not going to work. How many times do we go, here's our past successes, Lord, and I've brought them here, but nothing's happening. I fished all night, and something that seems illogical, he says, hey, Cherise and Gordon, put all that down, and go ahead and cast your net out, and next thing you know, you've got fishes and fishes and loads of fishes and loads of fishes, and you have to fill up 2 boats.
Right.
That's what going into that position helps you with. You might get loads of fishes of new thoughts. You might get brand new inspiration of faith. Your heart might be filled with hope and buckets of love from the Holy Spirit. You might have a brand new regenerative outlook towards a degenerative situation. It is I get to start over again.
It's allowing yourself to be opened up, to be primed to receiving the goodness of God.
Right.
Instead of self-judgment.
Right.
Instead of condemning yourself for the pain.
Right. And then what happens is the things that were unfamiliar and distant that you contend with, that it's easy to get that white-knuckled grip and you want to punch someone and get an answer for, the unfamiliar spots, the unfamiliar places, as unfamiliar as they are, your body remembers what it was like to have that peace. So the unfamiliar doesn't scare you as much anymore. Mm-hmm. Because the peace is so overwhelming. It's like, I like that. The mind of my heart likes it. The mind of my body likes it. My body likes it. And so even though you might be dealing with pain, you can deal with it with a lot more patience.
Love it.
And a lot more consistency and a lot more confidence in your faith. Okay, you can move forward with that, okay? One last thing I want to say about this when you're standing, you're going to take your first step. And when you get ahead of your pain, okay, when you get ahead of the painful circumstances, you're not getting ahead of them through your journey. The easiest way to get ahead of your pain is before your first step or as you're taking your first step. Okay? So when you recognize the identity, the incredible greatness of God's power in us for those who believe in him, that Ephesians message, chapter 1, by the way, my dad right now seems to be really loving Ephesians chapter 1, to live his life, to live God's life, walking in peace is living the rhythm of Christ's faith and his love and his life. You're basically reconciling your will to God's will, and he will keep you one step ahead of your pain. So to remain that way, I would say this: develop the mindset of faith. Put on the mindset of Jesus Christ, not your own necessarily. Just slow down and take that one step ahead of the pain as you're doing and operating through that journey.
Beautiful.
Okay. We're at the end. What kind of takeaway do you have from today?
What I would like to share is that standing is so important. Where you choose to stand is so important.
That's right.
And you just talked about Ephesians 1, and it's funny because I pulled up Ephesians 6.
Beautiful.
And so we're like going to be the bookends here of a powerful story about standing. And it talks about in Ephesians 6:13, therefore put on the full armor of God so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything, to stand. So folks, the day of evil comes, that we're guaranteed that happens. But the armor of God is really the attributes of Jesus. And being able to stand is what we're called to do. And so standing, we can stand. We're not standing as one without a promise. We are standing as beloved children of God with a promise and an inheritance. So I would just say, make sure that when you do choose to stand, stand with God, because he stands with you. That's what I want to say.
Okay. I'm going to piggyback off of that one. And I'm just going to share one aspect. And it's about being ahead of your pain. It's about standing. It's about putting on the full armor of God. I would say this: do not allow your pain to divide your heart from the incredible greatness of God.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let pain be the weapon of evil and wickedness and darkness against your ability to walk in peace and to experience the intimate bond with the incredible greatness of God through Jesus Christ. Don't do it. Don't let pain do that. So that's it for today.
Wonderful, Gordon. Thank you.
That's it for today. And Cherise, how do you get a hold of us?
GordonandCherise.com. Go to our website. It has everything you need to get connected to us, to get the online courses that are going to be very practical and helpful to you along your journey. These courses are there to take you to the next level.
And you can become a member off of our site.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, get into the membership. You can do either a monthly or annual membership, and there's a whole packet of things that we're going to do. This is season 3. It's time to equip people, time for people to make a commitment and make decisions and be part of this, not just making a decision, but making a financial decision. And it's not a lot. And you're going to gain more than what you spend by, I keep saying this, bucketfuls, okay? But you can find everything you need for social media through Facebook, Better Living Community, all the other stuff. Just go to our site. That's our central place. And you can also download our app from the site. So it's GordonandCherise.com.
Thank you for becoming a part of the healing journey and being on that journey with us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.